Praise be to God, the cowboy priest here, and always looking out for the flock of the Lord, especially the little ones, the little children. And today, or in this time, today, in this very day, and in these days, the new academic year is beginning. And that's wonderful because the Lord, creating us in His image and likeness, we're intellectual beings. And it is important for us to sharpen our intellect, and that requires discipline and study. And I was recently talking to some young kids, and I was like, you guys ready to go back to school? And they were like, no, no, no. And I was expressing to them, I know that sometimes it's hard and it's a challenge, but it is important for you to esteem the opportunity and the blessing that we have in the United States of America to be educated. And in fact, many people in the world, and even to the majority of people in the world, do not have that privilege or blessing. And they begin even at tender age to hard labor and a life that is in some way to enslavement because of the lack of opportunity to move up, the lack of education. And so somehow we have to embrace the cross of studies and even to esteem it. And for when you look at the history of our country, there's a tremendous tradition of education. And in large part, that was to the church. You had religious and sisters and priests who founded schools and taught in Catholic schools, and they were the model of education, and that's magnificent. But today's education system, or the education system as we begin the academic year of 22-23, has been deeply compromised. And it's overwhelming for most people to understand, and power into these structures has been taken by big government and big money. And it has been manipulated into a way that tremendously compromises the quality of education and the freedom of education. The government has no place in the education of our children. I mean, there should be an overseeing, but not to be as intrusive as they have come to be. And in fact, it was always on the local level that schools were run and managed, and nobody takes care of our own children better than we do. And that's why it is important for the people and the communities, small communities, to retake possession to the schools. And in fact, there are powers that are greater than our understanding, powers who have bad intention, who have strongholds in the schools. And therefore you see a lot of things are messed up, big time in the schools. And that's why I encourage you with school boards and community gatherings to retake possession of the schools and to be hands-on in the education of your own children. Because we love our children, and those things are important to us. And that's the only way to authenticity of giving the best that we can, and to educate properly our children according to a classical education. True science, not the pseudoscience of the Marxists, but true science, true studies in the art, to be instructed in the truth of history, not a redacted history or not a history changed according to a narrative and agenda. And, to unlock the beauty of the centuries upon centuries of blessing that the Lord has given through different persons and institutions that has come down to us. The classic literatures, true mathematics, and not a study that is governed by passing a certain standardized test. Those things are ridiculous, and they have compromised our place in the world tremendously. Before, the United States of America was head and shoulders over the whole world as an educated people. But that has been, we no longer even rank in the top 10, even, being pushed out of the place in the world. Many countries have surpassed us. And it is because of these hindrances. We're hamstringed by all these red tapes and restrictions and government oversight that has paralyzed the natural gifts given to God's people to instruct, to teach, to instruct and to teach, and to form our young people to be great people and to nurture those individual gifts. Standardization to a people is not natural, because every single person is unique, precious, and unrepeatable. And it requires freedom to be able to nurture and to grow those gifts. And for teachers to be able to use those gifts that are proper to them for instruction, not to be conformed to a cookie cutter teacher. That's not right. And that's why I hope that you can understand and that you can retake the schools on the local level. That would be beautiful. And that would be very, very powerful. And it is true, I'm speaking to adults and to young people, never to compromise the higher sciences to anything of this world, to no studies or academics, because theology is above all sciences. And the Lord himself is the one who created science and mathematics and creativity in human beings. And that's why we always have to keep it in that perspective. And that's why, as the world would desire to push on our schools immorality and untruth and speculation to challenge every structure, I hope that you stand up. And even individually, these things of gender identity are absolutely ridiculous, clearly against true science, and clearly against ethics and morals. And that's why in school, if they tell you to call a he a she, you tell them, no, I'm not. That's a girl. That's a she. And even to parents, if you have teachers who are in